The cake hit the floor first. White cream splashed everywhere. My name, Lena, broke in half. Then my dad said the words that changed everything. The party is cancelled. The music stopped. The balloons swayed like they were scared. My graduation dress felt heavy on my skin. All because my stepsister was in a bad mood. I stood there, frozen, holding my phone, while my relatives stared at me like I had done something wrong. And that was the exact moment I decided to pack my bag and leave that night. But before I tell you how I walked out of that house, tell me, where are you watching from right now? And if this story already shocked you, tap like and keep watching. Because what happened next still hurts to remember. And it all started hours earlier. The sun was bright. Too bright for how nervous I felt. Graduation day. I had waited for this day for 4 years. For years of late nights, 4 years of tears, 4 years of telling myself, just keep going, Lena. I stood in front of the mirror, fixing the collar of my blue graduation dress. My hands were shaking, but I smiled anyway. Today was supposed to be my day. Downstairs, I could hear plates clinking and voices talking. The house smelled like fried rice and chicken. Decorations were already up. I took a deep breath and whispered, "You did it." Then I stepped out of my room. Our house looked nice on the outside. Big, clean, quiet. But inside, it was always tense. My dad, Mr. Raymond Cole, remarried when I was 10. My mom had passed away 2 years before that. His new wife, Darla, came with her daughter, Sophie. From the first day, Sophie made it clear she didn't like me. She was 1 year older, louder, always upset about something. And my dad, he always said, "Be patient, Lena. She's sensitive." I learned early that being patient meant being quiet. When I walked into the living room, my aunt clapped. "There's our graduate." I smiled. For a moment, my heart felt warm. Gold balloons spelled congrats across the wall. A long table was covered with food. A cake box sat in the middle. I walked closer. My name was written on top. "Congratulations, Lena." My chest felt tight, in a good way. Dad stood near the window, checking his phone. Darla was fixing flowers. Sophie sat on the couch, arms crossed, staring at the TV even though it was off. She didn't look at me. Not once. "Good morning," I said softly. No answer. I tried again. "Morning, Sophie." She rolled her eyes. "Can you not be so happy?" she snapped. The room went quiet. Darla turned. "Sophie, please." "It's annoying," Sophie said. "She's acting like she's the only one who ever graduated." I swallowed. "I'm sorry," I said, even though I didn't know why I was sorry. Dad finally looked up. "Let's keep the peace today," he said. "This is a special day." I nodded. I always nodded. An hour later, guests started arriving. My cousins hugged me. My uncle took photos. For a little while, I forgot everything else. Then Sophie walked past me. She stopped. "Is that what you're wearing?" she asked loudly. I looked down at my dress. "Yes." She laughed. "Wow. You really want all the attention, don't you?" People turned to look. My cheeks burned. Dad cleared his throat. "Sophie, enough." She scoffed. "No one ever tells her enough." She walked away. I stood there, smiling for photos, while my stomach twisted into knots. The cake was brought out just before sunset. Everyone gathered around. Dad raised his hand. "Before we cut the cake." Sophie stood up suddenly. "I don't feel good," she said. Darla rushed to her side. "What's wrong, baby?" "I have a headache. And this party is too loud." Dad frowned. "We can turn the music down." Sophie shook her head. "It's not just that. I feel ignored." Ignored. At my graduation party. The room went silent again. Dad looked at Darla, then at Sophie, then at me. His jaw tightened. "Maybe," he said slowly, "we should stop this for today." My heart skipped. "Stop what?" I asked. "The party," he said. "Sophie is not feeling well." I laughed a little, thinking he was joking. But he wasn't. "You can't be serious," I said. Darla sighed. "She's very sensitive, Lena." Sensitive. Always that word. Guests looked uncomfortable. My aunt whispered, "Raymond." Dad raised his voice. I said the party is cancelled. That's when the cake slipped from the table and hit the floor. Cream splattered my shoes. Someone gasped. I stared at the mess, then up at my dad. "You're canceling my graduation party," I said slowly, "because Sophie is in a bad mood?" Sophie turned her face away. Dad didn't answer. That silence hurt more than yelling. My chest felt tight. My eyes burned. I nodded once. "Okay," I said. I walked upstairs. No one followed me. My room felt small. Too quiet. I opened my closet and grabbed a bag. Clothes.shoes.my graduation certificate. My hands moved fast, but my mind was slow. He chose her again. I sat on the bed for a second, holding my mom's old necklace. Then I heard footsteps. My door opened. Dad stood there. "Where do you think you're going?" he asked. I looked at him, and for the first time, I didn't lower my eyes. "I'm leaving," I said. His face hardened. "You're being dramatic." That's when I picked up my bag and said the words that made him step back. Words that would change everything. But before I could finish my sentence, someone else walked into the room, and what they said stopped my heart. It was Darla who walked into the room. Her face was calm, too calm. She looked at my packed bag, then at my dad, then back at me. "Lena," she said softly, "you're not going anywhere." My fingers tightened around the bag handle. "I already decided," I said. Dad crossed his arms. "You're upset. That's all. Put the bag down." I shook my head. "No. I'm done." Darla stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was talking to a little child. "You're embarrassing the family," she whispered. "Guests are still downstairs." I laughed at a short, empty laugh. "You already embarrassed me," I said. "Down there. In front of everyone." Dad sighed loudly. "You're acting selfish," he said. "This is not how a grateful daughter behaves." That word again. Grateful. Something broke inside me. "I studied alone," I said. "I cried alone that I paid for my books with part-time jobs. And today, you canceled my party." Dad looked away. "Sophie needed support," he said. I nodded slowly. "She always does." Darla's eyes narrowed. "Careful," she warned. "You're crossing a line." I lifted my bag. "No," I said. "I crossed that line years ago. You just didn't notice." Dad stepped forward. "If you walk out that door," he said, "don't expect help from me." The room went quiet. My heart pounded. "So that's it?" I asked. "You'll cut me off?" He didn't answer. That was my answer. I walked past them, down the stairs. Each step felt heavy. Everyone turned to look at me. My aunt stood up. "Lena, honey?" I didn't stop. Sophie sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, watching me with dry eyes. Not sick, not weak. Just watching. I reached the front door. My hand touched the handle. Then, wait, it was my dad. I turned. He looked unsure. "For tonight," he said, "you can stay. We'll talk later." I stared at him. "No," I said quietly. "Tonight is when I leave." I opened the door. Cold air rushed in. The sky was dark. I stepped onto the porch. Behind me, the door stayed open. No one followed. I walked down the steps. That's when I heard it. A car pulling up. Headlights flashing. A familiar voice called my name. "Lena." I froze. I turned around slowly. And my heart dropped when I saw who it was. Because this person knew everything. And if they spoke, the truth would come out. "Lena." The voice came again. I knew it even before I saw the face. Aunt Marissa. My mom's younger sister. The only person in this world who still talked about my mother like she mattered. She stepped out of her small gray car, her eyes wide when she saw my bag. "What's going on?" she asked. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Behind me, the front door was still open. Dad stood there. Darla stood behind him. Sophie sat on the couch, watching through the doorway. Aunt Marissa followed my gaze. She looked at them, then back at me, and she understood. She didn't ask again. She walked straight to me and pulled me into her arms. I tried to be strong. I failed. My face pressed into her shoulder, and everything I had been holding inside spilled out. "He canceled my party," I whispered. Because Sophie was upset. Aunt Marissa's body went stiff. She pulled back slowly. "Is that true?" she asked, looking at my dad. Dad cleared his throat. "This is a family matter," he said. Aunt Marissa laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Oh, it's a family matter now," she said. "Because when Lena needed family, where were you?" Darla stepped forward. "Please," she said. "This is not the time." Aunt Marissa turned to her. "When is the time?" she asked sharply. "After you erase her completely?" The porch went silent. "Come," Aunt Marissa said, taking my bag. "You're staying with me tonight." Dad shook his head. "That's not necessary." Aunt Marissa looked him straight in the eyes. "It is," she said. "Unless you plan to apologize to your daughter right now." He didn't speak. She nodded once. "Thought so." She opened her car trunk and put my bag inside. I hesitated. What about school? I asked quietly. She smiled at me. You already graduated, she said. One step at a time. I got into the car. The door closed. For the first time that night, the house felt far away. Streetlights passed one by one. I stared out the window. I didn't want to leave like this, I said. Aunt Marissa sighed. You didn't leave, she said. You were pushed. I swallowed. She always wins, I said. Sophie. Aunt Marissa's jaw tightened. Not always, she said. I turned to her. What do you mean? She kept her eyes on the road. Your father made promises, she said slowly. To your mother, promises he forgot. My heart skipped. What promises? She didn't answer right away. We stopped at a red light. She looked at me then, and her voice dropped. Lena, she said, there are things about your father's choices that you were never told. My hands clenched. Like what? The light turned green. The car moved. And just as she opened her mouth to speak, my phone buzzed. A message from Dad. I looked at the screen, and my blood ran cold when I read it, because he wrote only one sentence. If you stay with her tonight, don't expect to come back. I stared at the message, my fingers shaking. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message. This time from Sophie. And what she sent made my chest ache. Because it was a picture. A picture of my graduation cake. Being cut. With Sophie smiling beside it. I stared at the picture on my phone. Sophie was smiling. The cake knife was in her hand. My cake. The words congratulations Lena were still there, but the slice was cut right through my name. My chest felt tight. Aunt Marissa noticed my face. What is it? She asked. I turned the phone toward her. She saw the picture, and her face changed. For a few seconds, she didn't say anything. She just drove. Her hands were tight on the steering wheel. That, she said finally, is cruel. I wiped my eyes. They didn't even wait, I whispered. I was gone for minutes. Aunt Marissa shook her head. That was never about a party, she said. That was about control. I looked down at my phone again. Sophie had sent another message. Drama queen. You ruined your own night. My hands trembled. I didn't do anything, I said. I just wanted one day. Aunt Marissa nodded. And that's why this hurts so much, she said. We pulled into Aunt Marissa's driveway. Her house was small, quiet, warm lights in the windows. She turned off the engine. Come inside, she said. We'll talk. Inside, she made me sit on the couch and wrapped a blanket around my shoulders. Tea, she asked. I nodded. As she moved around the kitchen, I looked at the photos on the wall. Pictures of my mom. Smiling, laughing. My throat tightened. Aunt Marissa came back and sat across from me. Lena, she said gently, your mother was very clear before she passed. I looked up. She asked your father to protect you, Aunt Marissa said. To always put you first, no matter what. Tears filled my eyes. He promised, she continued. I was there. I shook my head slowly. He didn't keep it, I said. No, she agreed, he didn't. She took a deep breath. And that's not the only promise he broke. My heart started pounding. What do you mean? She hesitated. There is something your father never told you, she said. Something about your future. I leaned forward. What is it? Before she could answer, my phone rang. Dad's name flashed on the screen. I froze. Aunt Marissa looked at it. Do you want to answer? She asked. I swallowed hard. My thumb hovered over the screen. Because I knew, whatever he was about to say could change everything. And before I could decide, the call stopped. A new message came in. Just 4 words. You left me no choice. My heart dropped. I stared at the message. You left me no choice. My hands felt cold. What does that mean? I whispered. Aunt Marissa sat closer. Let me see, she said gently. I showed her the phone. She sighed deeply. That's not a father speaking, she said. That's someone trying to scare you. My phone buzzed again. Another message. I've already decided. My heart started racing. Decided what? I said out loud. Before I could stop myself, I pressed call. It rang once. Twice. Then he answered. Dad, I said. My voice shook. What did you decide? His voice came through, hard and tired. You chose to walk out, he said. So I chose to stop paying your college fees. The words hit me like a slap. I couldn't breathe. You what? I whispered. You heard me, he said. I can't reward disrespect. Aunt Marissa's face went pale. Raymond, she said loudly into the phone. Are you serious right now? He paused. This doesn't concern you, he said. Oh, it concerns me, she snapped. Because that money was never fully yours. The line went silent. What do you mean? I asked, my voice shaking. Aunt Marissa looked at me, then back at the phone. Tell her, she said. Tell Lena where that college money really came from. Dad laughed nervously. You're reaching, he said. No, Aunt Marissa replied. I'm done keeping quiet. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it. Aunt Marissa took the phone from me. Raymond, she said, calm but sharp. You used Lena's mother's savings, the money she left for her daughter's education. My knees went weak. What? I whispered. Dad didn't answer. That money, Aunt Marissa continued, was never meant for Sophie. Never meant for control. It was meant for Lena. The silence stretched. Then Dad spoke, quieter now. We're done here, he said. The call ended. I stared at the blank screen. My mom paid for my college? I asked. Aunt Marissa nodded slowly. She worked extra hours, she said. She saved every little thing. She trusted your father. Tears streamed down my face. And he used it against me, I said. She put her arm around me. He thought you didn't know, she said. He thought fear would keep you quiet. My phone buzzed again. This time from Sophie. Guess college is canceled too. My chest burned. I wanted to scream. But before I could respond, Aunt Marissa reached for her bag. There's something else, she said. She pulled out a brown envelope. I wasn't sure when to give you this, she said. But after tonight, you need to see it. She placed it in my hands. My name was written on the front. My fingers shook as I opened it. Inside were papers. Legal papers. And at the top, in bold letters, were words I had never seen before. My heart stopped. Aunt Marissa, I whispered, what is this? She met my eyes. It's the part of your mother's plan your father couldn't touch, she said. My breath caught. Because if this was real, everything was about to change. My hands shook as I held the papers. I read the words again, and again. Trust beneficiary, Lena Cole. This can't be real, I whispered. Aunt Marissa nodded. It is real, she said. And your father knows it exists. My heart started beating fast. Then why didn't he ever tell me? I asked. She sighed. Because the trust has rules, she said. Rules he didn't like. Aunt Marissa pointed to a page. Read this part. I read slowly. The funds are to be released directly to Lena upon her graduation, or at the age of 18. No spouse or guardian may control or redirect the money. My mouth went dry. So, Dad can't touch it? I asked. No, she said firmly. He never could. I looked up at her. Then why did he threaten me about college? Because, she said quietly, he wanted you scared and obedient. The room felt smaller. He let me believe I had nothing, I said. Aunt Marissa nodded. And he hoped you would come back begging. Just then. Knock. Knock. I jumped. Aunt Marissa froze. Did you invite someone? I whispered. She shook her head slowly. No. The knock came again, louder this time. My heart started racing. It's late, I said. Who would? A voice came through the door. Lena, the voice said. I knew it instantly. My blood ran cold. It's your father, Aunt Marissa whispered. She opened the door just a little. Dad stood outside. No jacket. No anger. Just a tight smile. We need to talk, he said. Aunt Marissa stepped in front of me. There's nothing to talk about, she said. Dad looked past her, straight at me. You left without thinking, he said. And now you're being filled with lies. I felt my hands clench. Is the trust a lie? I asked. His smile disappeared. For half a second, fear crossed his face. You went through her things, he snapped at Aunt Marissa. She had a right to know, she replied. Dad stepped closer. Lena, he said softly, come home. We'll forget all this. I shook my head. No, I said. I want the truth. He looked away. Did Mom leave me that trust? I asked. Silence. That was my answer. Dad's voice dropped. If you don't come back tonight, he said, you'll regret it. Aunt Marissa laughed sharply. Are you threatening her now? Dad's eyes stayed on me. You don't know how hard life really is, he said. You think money fixes everything. I took a step forward. Then why are you so afraid of me having it? I asked. His jaw tightened. He turned away. I'll give you time, he said. But don't make the wrong choice. He walked back to his car. The engine started. The headlights flashed once. Then he drove away. I sat back down, shaking. Aunt Marissa closed the door. That wasn't a visit, she said. That was a warning. I looked at the papers again. What happens now? I asked. She took a deep breath. Now, she said, we call the lawyer your mother trusted. My phone buzzed. A new message. From an unknown number. Just one line. You think you won. You didn't. My heart dropped. Because I knew. This wasn't over. I stared at the message. You think you won. You didn't. My fingers felt numb. Aunt Marissa leaned closer. That's fear talking, she said. When people lose control, they threaten. I swallowed. It still scares me, I admitted. She nodded. That means you're human. The next morning, we sat at the kitchen table. Aunt Marissa dialed a number and put the phone on speaker. After 2 rings, a calm voice answered. Law Office of Mr. Daniel Hargrove. This is Marissa Bell, she said. I'm calling about Lena Cole. There was a pause. Then, I've been waiting for this call, the lawyer said. My heart skipped. You know my name? I asked. Yes, he said kindly. I knew your mother very well. He explained everything slowly. The trust was created to protect you, he said. Your mother was worried about future pressure. Aunt Marissa squeezed my hand. Your father was informed, the lawyer continued, but he has no legal control. So he lied, I said quietly. Yes, Mr. Hargrove replied. And that lie ends today. My chest felt tight, but lighter. What happens now? I asked. We file for full release of the trust, he said. Your graduation qualifies you. Aunt Marissa smiled. And Raymond, she asked. The lawyer paused. If he tries to interfere, he said, there will be consequences. My phone buzzed. Another message. From Sophie. Dad says you'll crawl back soon. I stared at the screen. This time I didn't cry. I typed back one sentence. Tell him I'm done crawling. That afternoon an email arrived. Trust activation, confirmed. I stared at it, hardly breathing. It's real, I whispered. Aunt Marissa hugged me. You're free, she said. But freedom came with fear. Because a few minutes later, the doorbell rang. Again. Aunt Marissa looked through the window. Her face hardened. They're here, she said. Who? I asked. She turned to me. Darla, she said. And Sophie. My stomach dropped. Aunt Marissa opened the door. Darla stood there, smiling too much. Sophie stood behind her, arms crossed. We just want to talk, Darla said sweetly. Sophie's eyes met mine. And she smirked. Because I knew. They didn't come to talk. They came to take something. Darla stepped inside like she owned the place. Her smile was wide, too wide. Lena, she said softly, you scared us last night. I didn't answer. Sophie walked in behind her and looked around the house. So this is where you ran to, she said. Cute. Aunt Marissa closed the door. You have 5 minutes, she said calmly. Say what you came to say. Darla placed her purse down and sighed. This family is breaking apart, she said. And it's because of misunderstandings. I crossed my arms. What misunderstanding? I asked. That my party was canceled, or that my dad lied to me? Her smile slipped for just a second. We admit, Darla said slowly. Things got emotional. Sophie rolled her eyes. But we're willing to move on, Darla continued. If you come home. I laughed. Why? I asked. So nothing changes? Sophie stepped forward. You think you're better than us now, she snapped. Because of some money? My heart thumped. So you do know, I said. Darla shot Sophie a sharp look. Careful, she warned. Too late. Sophie smirked. Dad said that trust won't last, she said. Things can be rearranged. Aunt Marissa's eyes narrowed. That's rearranged, she repeated. How? Darla rushed in. Sophie didn't mean that, she said quickly. She's upset. But Sophie didn't stop. Dad already talked to someone, she said. A lawyer friend. The room went quiet. My stomach dropped. Darla turned to me. Lena, she said softly. You don't want this to become ugly. Aunt Marissa stepped forward. It already is, she said. Darla's voice hardened. Families don't fight in court, she said. They handle things privately. I looked straight at her. My mom tried that, I said. And look where it got me. Sophie laughed. You won't win, she said. You're alone. No, I said quietly. I'm not. I picked up my phone. And my lawyer knows everything. Darla froze. You wouldn't, she said. I already did, I replied. For the first time, Sophie looked nervous. Darla grabbed her purse. We'll talk again, she said tightly. This isn't over. I know, I said. They walked out. The door slammed. I exhaled slowly. My hands were shaking. Seconds later, my phone buzzed. A new email. From Mr. Hargrove. Subject line. Urgent, we have a problem. My heart dropped. I opened it, and my blood ran cold when I read the first line. Your father has filed an emergency request against the trust. I read the email again. And again. Your father has filed an emergency request against the trust. My mouth went dry. What does that mean? I asked. Aunt Marissa leaned over my shoulder and read it. Her face went hard. It means, she said slowly, he's trying to take back control. My chest tightened. But you said he couldn't, I whispered. He can't, she replied. But that won't stop him from trying. The phone rang almost immediately. Mr. Hargrove. I answered with shaking hands. Lena, he said calmly. Listen to me very carefully. I'm listening, I said. Your father is claiming you were influenced, he explained. He says you're being manipulated and don't understand what you signed. My heart pounded. That's not true, I said. I know, he replied. But tomorrow morning, a judge will decide whether to pause the trust. Tomorrow. One day. That fast? I asked. Yes, he said. And your father is pushing hard. After the call ended, I sat quietly. The room felt heavy. So, he might win? I asked. Aunt Marissa shook her head. Only if you stay silent, she said. But what if the judge believes him? I whispered, he's my dad. She looked at me firmly. Then you speak, she said. You tell the truth. I swallowed. What if I can't? I asked. She took my hands. You already have, she said. You just don't realize how strong your voice is yet. I barely slept. Every sound made me jump. My phone buzzed at 2 a.m. A message from Dad. Court is not a place for children. My hands shook. Another message followed. You can still come home and stop this. I stared at the screen. For the first time, I didn't feel scared. I felt angry. I typed back. I'm not a child anymore. The courthouse was cold. Too quiet. Dad sat on one side with his lawyer. Darla sat next to him, whispering. Sophie wasn't smiling now. She wouldn't look at me. Aunt Marissa squeezed my hand. You're ready, she said. The judge walked in. Everyone stood. My heart felt like it might burst. The judge looked down at the papers. Then looked up at me. Lena Cole, she said. Do you understand why you're here today? I nodded. Yes, I said. She leaned forward. And do you wish to speak for yourself? The room went completely silent. All eyes were on me. Dad stared hard. Darla held her breath. Sophie clenched her fists. I opened my mouth. And just as I was about to speak, the judge raised her hand. Before you answer, she said, there is something new the court needs to address. My heart dropped. Because whatever that something was, it wasn't in the plan. The judge adjusted her glasses. The whole room went still. There is new information, she said, submitted early this morning. My heart started pounding. Dad shifted in his seat. Darla's face went pale. The judge looked down at the papers, then back up. Mr. Raymond Cole, she said, did you fail to disclose that the trust funds were partially withdrawn years ago? The air left my lungs. Withdrawn. Dad stood up quickly. That's a misunderstanding, he said. I was managing household expenses. The judge raised her hand. These withdrawals were labeled as education-related, she said. Yet the beneficiary never received them. My hands began to shake. I turned to Aunt Marissa. What does that mean? I whispered. Her face was tight. It means, she whispered back, he already touched money he wasn't allowed to. Darla whispered urgently to Dad. Sophie stared straight ahead, her jaw clenched. The judge continued. Large amounts were used for private tuition, extracurricular fees, and travel, she said. For a child who is not the listed beneficiary. My head snapped up. Sophie. Dad's lawyer stood. Your Honor, he said. Those were family decisions made in good faith. The judge looked unimpressed. Good faith does not override legal boundaries, she replied. My chest hurt. All this time. The judge looked at me again. Lena, she said gently, you may speak now. I stood up. My legs felt weak. I looked at my father. At the man who told me I was selfish, ungrateful, dramatic. I didn't leave because of money, I said. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. I left because I was treated like I didn't matter. Dad looked down. I worked hard, I continued. I stayed quiet, and when I needed support, my celebration was taken away. The judge nodded slowly. And the trust? She asked. My mother left it to protect me, I said, because she knew I might need protection one day. Silence filled the room. The judge folded her hands. This court will issue a temporary order, she said. The trust will remain active and untouched until a full investigation is complete. My heart jumped. Dad's head snapped up. This is not final, the judge added. There will be further hearings. She looked directly at my father. And Mr. Cole, she said firmly, you are not to contact or pressure the beneficiary in any way. Dad swallowed hard. Yes, Your Honor. The gavel came down. Court adjourned. I stepped into the hallway, dizzy. Aunt Marissa hugged me tightly. You did amazing, she whispered. But before I could respond, Dad's lawyer brushed past us, speaking quietly into his phone. Darla walked by without looking at me. Sophie stopped. She leaned close and whispered, You think this is over? I met her eyes. No, I said calmly. But neither is the truth. Her face hardened. She walked away. As we reached the exit, my phone buzzed. An email. From Mr. Hargrove. Subject line. New evidence found. My stomach dropped. I opened it. The first sentence made my heart race. Lena, there are transactions connected to your mother's trust that don't match any family records. I looked up at Aunt Marissa. There's more, I said. She nodded slowly. And whatever it is, she replied, it's big enough to change everything. We didn't talk on the drive home. The email sat open on my phone, glowing like it was alive. Transactions that don't match any family records. I kept reading that line. Over and over. What kind of transactions? I finally asked. Aunt Marissa kept her eyes on the road. The kind people hide, she said quietly. As soon as we got home, the phone rang. Mr. Hargrove again. This time, his voice sounded different. More serious. Lena, he said, what I'm about to tell you is difficult. I sat down slowly. I'm ready, I said, though my hands were shaking. The trust wasn't just for education, he explained. Your mother suspected something before she passed. My heart skipped. Suspected what? He paused. Financial misuse, he said. And possible debt in your father's name. Aunt Marissa closed her eyes. I knew it, she whispered. What kind of debt? I asked. Large ones, the lawyer said. Loans taken shortly after your mother became ill. The room felt cold. You're saying, I whispered, he was already using money back then? Yes, Mr. Hargrove said. And your mother noticed things weren't adding up. Tears filled my eyes. She was sick, I said. And he was doing this? That's why she created extra protection, he replied. Accounts only you could access one day. There's more, he continued. We found a sealed file. My heart dropped. A file? I asked. Yes, he said. Your mother asked me to release it only if your father ever challenged the trust. My breath caught. So now? Yes, he said. Now. Aunt Marissa reached for my hand. Do you want to hear what's in it? The lawyer asked. I swallowed hard. Yes, I said. Mr. Hargrove spoke slowly. There is a written statement, he said. From your mother. My chest tightened. She wrote, he continued. If Lena is hearing this, it means I was right to be afraid. Tears spilled down my face. Aunt Marissa squeezed my hand harder. She believed, he went on, that if anything happened to her, your father might prioritize others over you. I shook my head. She knew, I whispered. She knew all along. The final warning. The statement also includes a warning, Mr. Hargrove said. What warning? I asked. That if funds were misused, he said, the court should investigate for fraud. The word echoed in my head. Fraud. That wasn't just family drama. That was serious. Just then. Knock. Knock. Aunt Marissa froze. Again. My heart started racing. She checked the window. Her face went tight. It's him, she whispered. My dad? I asked. She nodded. He's not alone, she added. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Open the door. We need to fix this now. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. Because something told me. This time, he wasn't here to talk. The knock came again. Louder. More impatient. Aunt Marissa stood in front of me. You don't have to face him, she whispered. But my heart was already beating too fast. I do, I said quietly. If I keep running, he'll keep chasing. She hesitated, then nodded. Then I'm right here, she said. She opened the door. My dad stood there. His face was tight, his jaw clenched. Beside him was a man in a dark suit. Not Darla, not Sophie. A stranger. This is Mr. Collins, my dad said quickly. A family advisor. The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Lena, he said calmly. I'm here to help smooth things over. Aunt Marissa crossed her arms. This is not the time, she said. My dad ignored her and looked at me. We can still fix this, he said. You don't need courts. Or lawyers. I felt my chest tighten. You already brought the court in, I said. You did that first. Mr. Collins stepped forward. Your father wants peace, he said. And stability. He pulled out a folder. There's a simple solution, he continued. You come home. The trust stays flexible. I stared at the folder. What does that mean? I asked. My dad answered instead. It means, he said, you stop fighting, and I'll help you with college again. I laughed softly. You mean, I said, I give up my protection, and you give me permission to survive? His face hardened. You're being dramatic, he snapped. There it was again. That word. Mr. Collins lowered his voice. Lena, he said, young people often don't understand legal consequences. Aunt Marissa stepped forward sharply. Careful, she warned. But he kept talking. If this goes further, he said, it could hurt your father's reputation. That affects everyone. I looked at my dad. So this is about you, I said. He didn't deny it. I didn't ask for a trust, I said. My mom gave it to me because she was scared. My dad flinched. She was wrong, he said quickly. No, I replied. She was right. Silence filled the doorway. Mr. Collins closed the folder. If you refuse, he said calmly, things may become uncomfortable. My stomach dropped. Is that a threat? Aunt Marissa asked. He smiled again. Just reality. My phone buzzed. An email notification. From Mr. Hargrove. Subject line. Do not speak to them without me. I looked up. I'm done talking, I said. Dad's face twisted. You're making a mistake, he said. I met his eyes. No, I said. I'm finally stopping one. As Aunt Marissa started to close the door, Mr. Collins spoke one last time. There's something you should know, he said. We froze. He looked straight at me. The investigation, he said slowly, isn't only about money anymore. My heart skipped. What do you mean? I asked. He smiled. Ask your father, he said. I turned to him. His face had gone pale. And in that moment, I knew. The secret he was hiding was much bigger than money. The door closed slowly. The click of the lock sounded louder than it should have. Aunt Marissa leaned against it, breathing hard. My dad's face, pale, shaken, was still burned into my mind. What did that man mean? I asked. Not about money anymore? Aunt Marissa didn't answer right away. She walked to the couch and sat down. Then she looked at me like she was choosing her words very carefully. Lena, she said softly, your mother didn't just suspect money problems. My heart skipped. She suspected lies, Aunt Marissa continued. Big ones. I felt cold. About what? I asked. She took a deep breath. About how certain things were signed, she said. Loans. Accounts. Documents. I shook my head. But Dad signed those, I said. He told us. Aunt Marissa's eyes filled with sadness. That's the problem, she said. Some of them weren't signed by him. I stared at her. Then who signed them? I whispered. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. My stomach dropped. No, I said quickly. He wouldn't. Aunt Marissa reached for my hand. Your mother thought some signatures were forged, she said. Forged. The word echoed in my head. That's a crime, I whispered. She nodded. And if it's proven, she said, this case becomes something much bigger. My phone buzzed. An email. From Mr. Hargrove. I opened it with shaking hands. Lena, handwriting analysis has raised serious concerns. My chest tightened. I kept reading. Several documents appeared to contain a copied signature. I dropped the phone onto the couch. He did it, I whispered. Aunt Marissa didn't say no. I don't understand, I said, my voice breaking. He's my dad. I know, she said gently. That's why this hurts so much. Tears streamed down my face. He looked at me and called me dramatic, I said. But he was hiding this? Aunt Marissa pulled me into a hug. Some people protect themselves, she whispered, even if it means hurting their own child. The phone rang again. Mr. Hargrove. I answered. Lena, he said, things are moving quickly now. What happens next? I asked. There may be a criminal inquiry, he said. And once that starts, there's no stopping it. My hands trembled. Does my dad know? I asked. There was a pause. Yes, he said. And based on recent behavior, he's panicking. Lena, the lawyer continued, if your father contacts you again for any reason, you must tell me immediately. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. I will, I said. The call ended. The room was quiet again. Too quiet. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text. From Dad. Only 5 words. We need to talk. Alone. My heart started pounding. Aunt Marissa saw my face. What is it? She asked. I showed her the screen. She shook her head firmly. No, she said. Not alone. I stared at the message. Because I knew. If I met him now, everything could change. And the choice I made next would decide how this story really ends. I read the message one last time. We need to talk. Alone. Then I deleted it. My hands did not shake. My heart did not race. For the first time, I was calm. I looked at Aunt Marissa. I'm done being scared, I said. She nodded and pulled me into a hug. That's how I know you're ready, she whispered. We called Mr. Hargrove together. He contacted her again, Aunt Marissa said. There was a pause. Then this ends today, the lawyer replied. A no-contact order was filed. My father could not call, could not text, could not come near me. And with that, the power he held over my life disappeared. The investigation did not stop. It moved forward. Quietly, carefully, honestly. The court confirmed everything. Money was taken. Documents were altered. The trust existed because my mother knew I would need protection. That truth hurt. But it also healed me. Because it meant none of this was my fault. I lost a version of my father I thought I had. I lost a house that never felt like home. But I gained something bigger. My future was secure. My education was protected. My voice mattered. For the first time, I was not begging to be chosen. I chose myself. One quiet afternoon, Aunt Marissa and I visited my mom. I'm safe, I whispered. You did this for me. The wind moved gently. And in my heart, I felt peace. My graduation party was canceled. But my life did not end that night. It began. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is pack your bag, walk away, and never apologize for choosing yourself. Subscribe to this channel to support our growth. And thank you for watching this powerful story.